got to get into some breaking news. This was not planned. This was not on our rundown. But on Instagram, Canelo Alvarez, of course, the Mexican superstar, #1 pound for pound on my boxing list, middleweight champion, secondary title at 168. You know him. He's the biggest star in the sport. His trainer and co-manager, Eddie Reynoso, has put out a statement on Instagram, and I'm going to read it, Luke. The headline is Canelo Alvarez free agent. Quote, in my role as manager and coach of Canelo, I allow myself to communicate to the boxing community and to all our fans that starting today, November 6th, Canelo becomes a free agent. So we are ready to continue with his boxing career. All this time, we've been working very hard in the gym with a lot of responsibility and discipline to be in great physical shape and ready to fight this year. And it will be, ! Eddie closed by saying, we will announce the date, the rival, and the place very soon, and we will return stronger than ever to keep growing and showing that Mexican boxing is the best. Luke, this is massive news. Now, let's frame it. Canelo Alvarez has a lawsuit out at the moment in court in California against Golden Boy Promotions, Oscar de la Hoya, and Dazn for many reasons, mostly not following through on Dazon's end on the guarantee of $35 million per fight for his current contract, and also a lot of backroom stuff on how Golden Boy Promotions has cared for him both financially and personally. Luke, we don't know the legal side yet. We haven't seen a response yet from Oscar de la Hoya and Golden Boy on whether Canelo and Eddie Reynoso can claim this. But as it pertains, Luke, if this is true, in the boxing landscape where we know there's politics, there's segregation, the best don't always fight the best. Good God, how big of a story is it for you if Canelo Alvarez can pick and choose who he wants to fight, where, on what network, and all that starting right now?
I mean, that is an amazing revelation. So I have two different responses. One, I can't help but feel like this is when St. Pierre declared he was a free agent. Remember that? And Dana was like, no, you're not. But he ended up getting, I think it was the Bisping fight in short order after that. So one real play here is that this is Canelo doing something to force DAZN's hand to give him something that he wants. In other words, he would not be leaving DAZN, but he would be cracking the whip on them in some kind of way to force a resolution so that whatever is happening with the lawsuit or whatever, he can just come to some kind of place where he's advantaged and given whatever he is looking for. The specifics of that, obviously, hard to tell. That's one read on this. The other read is that they're actually right, and that he has freed himself from the contract. I mean, let's just call it what it is, BC. We know that the guy who runs Showtime Sports, Steven Espinosa, on the record has said, to the extent that Canelo were ever a free agent, I know Showtime would want him. I don't know what kind of relationship Canelo has with Top Rank, but when you're Canelo, everyone wants to have a good relationship with you, and I imagine Bob Arum would want his services, and it would go on, and it, just from there, anybody who knows anything about boxing or is in the boxing business, if Canelo were a free agent, would want to do business with him because, as you mentioned, he is the pound-for-pound best. He's arguably the biggest star. Even on pay-per-view in this climate with the right fight, I think he could sell a shit ton. You've missed your windows for the dates around Mexican boxing, Cinco de Mayo and then Mexican New Year, but still it wouldn't matter. If he could come up with some kind of, BC, let's call it December surprise, that would be astronomical.
Yeah, this is monster in every category. For the short term of boxing, look, it's a big hit to have your #1 star not fight at all this calendar year. If they're just going to parachute in and give us a fight, and oh, by the way, Canelo's been in the gym. We've seen the videos because his stablemate Ryan Garcia is preparing for that big fight against Luke Campbell. So we've seen Canelo hit the bag. He's ready. Now, look, again, full disclaimer, Golden Boy may be able to speak on this. There may be language that says, I'm sorry, you can announce that you're back, but we got many a court date that can prevent that. We'll see where that goes. But if we live in a world where this is true, Luke, just the fact, again, he's the biggest star, so that matters. He's the #1 best fighter to a lot of people. That certainly matters. His style in the ring is both fun and sort of heavy craft, so that matters. But how about this, Luke? He has a title at 160 middleweight. He's the lineal champion. He holds a secondary title at 168. He also won a belt at 175 last fall and gave it up right away after knocking out Sergey Kovalev. So when your biggest star in the sport has that flexibility to fight over a number of weight classes and potentially take on some guys at 147 or 154 who want to move up, the flexibility to make massive fights is huge. And again, in this day and age when fighters get good pay, they get good treatment, But to do that, they have to align themselves typically with a network and a promoter and live in that silo, right? Unless you get to such a high level where you can get different people to play along, like we saw with Wilder and Fury there with a 2-network pay-per-view deal. If Canelo can kind of go the route that Miguel Cotto did to end his great career, I don't know if you remember this, Luke, he didn't have a promoter. He was one fight deal with everyone after signing that massive deal with Rock Nation and Jay-Z, and then kind of just picking which network he wanted to fight with. He started to just really call his own shots. If you're telling me the future for Canelo could be, how about we do a Golovkin trilogy? How about we fight a Callum Smith, who's an unbeaten champion at super middleweight? How about we fight a Charlo to unify middleweight belts? How about we entertain the idea of Errol Spence coming up? How about Jaime Munguia, your guy? How about we do a fun fight there in All Mexico Showdown? This is going to be fun, Luke. This is going to be fun. I just don't want to see my guy, Big Red, in a courtroom for 2 years. You do remember Andre Ward's saga, correct?
Yes. I don't. I think this might be a way, at a bare minimum. I mean, here's probably the good news about this. Either he is a free agent, and I suspect they'll come to some kind of fight pretty quickly. How good of a fight it will be, I don't know. But, getting Canelo back into rotation pretty quickly, that I think would happen. Or on the other side, it's what we said it was initially, which is this is a way to, shake Dazn into action or to, force them to give in to Canelo's wishes one way or the other, or just be more accommodating in some kind of way. If it's that, either way, it looks like you're going to get Canelo sooner rather than later. December, I don't know. I mean, that would probably only be true if he's a free agent. I don't know that the DAZN is in a position otherwise. But also, I got to say this, man. DAZN, I don't know what kind of shape they're in. And I realize we work for Showtime. That makes any kind of commentary we have here somewhat biased. I still am a DAZN subscriber. I did not cancel my DAZN subscription. I kept it running the whole time. I never paused it, never took a month off, nothing. I have maintained access to the platform this whole time. But I got to tell you, as a observer in the media, and frankly as a consumer, I just don't know what I don't know what I'm paying for. I get the occasional Jaime Munguia fight, or something that you bring to my attention. Devin Haney, I think, certainly is somebody who's been in DAZN with DAZN. But in general, it's like, what am I paying for month over month? I'm not sure I know, BC. I don't really have a good grasp on that.
Yeah, Akin Barak, Chris Mannix's video pod. I don't know what you're paying for, Luke. Bellator, I guess but we can get that on CBS Sports Network. So, Luke, I don't have a good answer there. But again, whether it's on DAZN in December, I want to see Canelo back. We'll be following this story closely. Luke, I want to bring back in the Canelo thing real quick because we have a major update here. ESPN Deportes' Salvador Rodriguez is reporting through sources that Canelo Alvarez has been released from both his Golden Boy Promotions deal and his DAZN contract.
What?
Luke, if this is true, this is massive. And what this would basically tell you...
Wait. Read it one more time. He is both free from DAZN and Golden Boy?
And Golden Boy. So that would tell you, if true, Luke, that they must have felt this is a legal battle that either they can't win or they don't want to go down that road and they just want to end it here. That's massive. And there's another caveat here. A source told Rodriguez, who, by the way, is a very credible reporter, that Alvarez and his team are targeting a December 19th return at super middleweight. Get this, Luke, against IBF champion Caleb Plant. Whoa, buddy. Whoa.
So who would have rights to that? PBC?
Well, Caleb Plant is a PBC fighter. If Canelo is a true network and promotional free agent, there's a great chance that would be on either Fox pay-per-view or Showtime pay-per-view, given the PBC contracts. Plant has fought most recently on Fox and Fox pay-per-view. Luke, that is a massive fight. And by the way,
that's a stunner.
I've gone on record before saying I think Caleb Plant has the skills where he could be a major problem for Canelo, given that he can box and has defense and real hand speed, Luke. This would be very interesting if this is true. And that's a huge fight that could be parachuted into our laps. Look, it's a story that's still developing as we speak, but that is the ESPN report at the moment. So, wow, Luke.
Wow, man. That is, boy, you want to talk about a Friday news dump, BC.
Yeah.
Where do you think he ends up? You think he ends up with Fox, or and again, we're by the way, I'm
I don't
biased
think he
as
ends
shit.
up with anybody. Luke, I think that's the model.
Okay, for one fight deal. Here's what I'm saying: the Plant fight, one fight deal. I'm biased. I would fucking love for him to end up on Showtime because that would mean we either get to cover the fights Or like for the last fight, BC, we don't get invited to the actual host city, but we go back to Jersey City where we can do room service diaries again.
With a new legal substance, Luke. I will say that Canelo obviously does have that history with Showtime pay-per-view. He fought Erislandy Lara, Alfredo Angulo, Floyd Mayweather. So it would be interesting. Either way, Luke, if this is the fight, by the way, that's a hell of a fight.
Can we just talk about how bad that DAZN deal was with Golden Boy and Canelo? Yeah. Like, dude, they were talking about, the richest contract in sports history, bigger than Bryce Harper's deal and blah, blah, blah. And the whole thing was premised on, I know you're asking about Devin Haney. He should beat the fuck out of Yuri Orkis Gamboa. I think we both know that, and he probably will. I just can't get over this Canelo thing, dude, because let me say one more thing about this. And what we'll do is, for Mikey, who's watching, our producer, chop up all the different pieces of this and put together a reaction. Because I'll say this. Dude, the whole idea of DAZN generally, but really that driving force. Remember Canelo was doing the ads with Bruce Buffer? Bruce, his brother. The other Buffer, Michael Buffer. He was doing those ads where they were talking about this is the end of pay-per-view. This is it. It's over. By the way, what the fuck does this mean for Golden Boy now that their biggest attraction is gone from the stables? Like, this is shattering news, man.
And,
really,
and by the way,
important.
Luke, their second biggest attraction, Ryan Garcia, is both trained and co-managed by Canelo's trainer. He's in the Canelo camp. And when Ryan Garcia had problems with Golden Boy a year ago, Canelo was retweeting Ryan Garcia's angry tweets. So I'm saying overall, this is bad news for DAZN. It's probably even worse. Not probably, Luke. This is massively bad for Golden Boy Promotions. This is really, really bad, Luke. We need to really spell that out.
Let me ask you. You know better than I do. Is it ruinous?
It's certainly not ruinous because if you can retain Ryan Garcia, they also have a very, very good-looking player there in that rising unbeaten welterweight. What the heck's the guy's name? Virgil Ortiz Jr., who Luke, I'm telling you, within a year is going to be in that group, right, that we now have with like Spence, Crawford, Porter. He looks like the goods. But there were court filings that came out where Canelo was something like 120% of Golden Boy's revenue in one calendar year a couple years back. So, I mean, they eat because of Canelo, right? Because he fights on pay-per-view.
For folks who may not understand, to correct me if I'm wrong, BC, it's not just that Canelo brings in money, right? It's that they use Canelo to set up all kinds of deals for other fights. Yes. He's not even involved with, like a content deal, because he's sort of this leveraging chip. You lose him, you lose not only the money he generates for his fights, you lose the leverage that you get to make the content for the other ones.
And by the way, that's part of the divide between Canelo and Golden Boy. Golden Boy, because of Canelo signing his individual deal with DAZN, was able to sign a huge deal for Golden Boy Promotions in general, of which Canelo feels he should have gotten a certain amount of money from, because you don't get that deal without him. So there's been a lot of back and forth there. But Luke, I'm not going to say it's ruinous, but this removes them as a major player. This is bad news. And obviously, if you're DAZN, you built that oligarch in Ukraine emptied his vault. And look, it may be FU money to him because he's got much bigger global fish to fry. DAZN just made a big global announcement last week. But Luke, you spent all that money, $35 million per fight, to get Canelo in, and then spent $100 million on bringing in Triple G. And again, you never made the one fight that you built your platform around. I don't want DAZN to go away. I just want them to make the kind of fights that makes it all worth it. And this is a damaging blow, Luke. Very damaging.
Man, we're going to be talking about this one for a while.
Our water tank is empty. I've started up the urine recycling machine.
That's very salty. Why did you want to go to the moon?
Carry on the legacy of my father.
To help spread the gospel of Jesus Christ out into the universe?
We've all made mistakes. We've all had failed marriages. We've all had helicopter tour businesses go belly up because we didn't pay our taxes. But we are going to the moon. Yeah, we are.